Stop sacrificing your future for comfort today. Be kind to your goals and set the boundaries that make your success possible. Success doesn't come from trying to please others. It comes from having the courage to please yourself and build your own path. Do you constantly find yourself agreeing to things you don't want to do just to avoid upsetting others? Are you always putting others' needs before your own, thinking it's the right thing to do? What if I told you that being too nice is actually one of the biggest reasons you're not achieving the success you deserve? Many people believe that being kind and agreeable will get them ahead, but the reality is, it's only holding them back. When you're always saying yes, always trying to make everyone happy, you're sacrificing your own growth and dreams. You're letting others dictate your time, your energy, and your potential. In this video, I'm going to show you how being too nice could be the reason you're stuck. I'll talk about how to set healthy boundaries, say no without guilt, and start prioritizing your own success over trying to please others. If you're tired of feeling drained and overlooked, it's time to make a change. Stay with me, because what you learn here could completely shift your mindset and change the direction of your life. Number 1. Stop letting people take advantage of your kindness. To be a truly successful person, you have to realize that kindness can easily be misunderstood. It's a beautiful trait to have, but in the wrong situations, kindness can become your biggest weakness. If you are constantly being the one to help others, to support others, to give to others at the expense of your own needs, you are creating a dangerous cycle that will ultimately prevent you from achieving your own dreams. The first thing you need to understand is that kindness should never come at the expense of your own well-being or your own progress. When you allow others to take advantage of your kindness, you're giving them permission to walk all over you. You're allowing them to drain you mentally, emotionally, and physically, and that leaves you with nothing left for yourself. This is a pattern that weak minds rely on, because they know that you'll keep giving and never ask for anything in return. They exploit your desire to be helpful and use it to keep themselves comfortable while you struggle to move forward. If you keep giving and giving without ever stopping to consider your own needs or desires, eventually, you will have nothing left to give. And when that happens, you'll be left wondering why you're stuck, why you're struggling to succeed, and why others around you don't seem to appreciate what you've done for them. Here's the hard truth. People will take as much as you're willing to give. They will take your time, your energy, and your resources without hesitation. And the more you give, the more they'll expect. This is why you have to draw the line. You have to protect your kindness and learn to set boundaries. You can still be kind and generous without being a doormat. You can help others and still prioritize your own goals and your own success. But you must be willing to say no when it's necessary. You must be strong enough to realize that your time, your energy, and your resources are valuable. You can't afford to let people drain you of everything you have. There's a fundamental flaw in how we view kindness. Society often teaches us that being nice, being accommodating, being the person who is always there for everyone else is the key to building strong relationships and achieving success. But the truth is that if you're constantly trying to make everyone else happy and ignoring your own needs, you'll end up resenting the very people you've been trying to help, and they won't even appreciate it. That's the painful part of kindness when it's taken too far. People don't appreciate it. They take it for granted. They come to expect that you will always be there, that you will always say yes, that you will always put them first. They don't understand the cost of your kindness, the toll it takes on your energy, your time, and your mental well-being. When you let people take advantage of your kindness, you're not doing them a favor, you're doing them a disservice. You're allowing them to remain dependent on you, to stay in a place of mediocrity, while you are stuck in a place where you can't move forward. You're letting them avoid the hard work they need to do to grow and succeed. And in the process, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to achieve your own dreams. It's time to break that cycle. It's time to stop letting people use your kindness against you. It's time to stop saying yes to everything just to please others. It's time to stop giving away your time, your resources, and your energy to people who aren't willing to give anything back. I understand that it's not always easy to say no. I know that you want to help, that you want to be there for others, that you want to be the person who makes a difference. But you have to remember that you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't keep giving and giving without taking care of yourself first. And you certainly can't keep sacrificing your own dreams, your own goals, and your own success just to keep others happy. To stop letting people take advantage of your kindness, you need to start setting boundaries. And that's not always easy. It requires you to be clear about what you need, what you want, and what you are willing to give. It requires you to be firm in your decisions. Even if it means disappointing others or facing some initial resistance, boundaries are not about being selfish. Boundaries are about protecting your energy and making sure that you have enough left for yourself, for your own goals, and for your own future. Setting boundaries is a way of saying that you respect yourself and your time. It's a way of saying that you value your dreams as much as you value helping others. And here's the thing, when you start setting boundaries, when you start saying no to things that drain you and no to people who take advantage of your kindness, you will start to feel a sense of freedom. You will feel lighter. You will feel like you've taken control of your life again. You'll begin to realize that your time and energy are precious, and that you deserve to put them into things that will move you closer to your goals, to your dreams, to your success. It's not just about saying no. It's about saying no to the things that don't serve your future. It's about saying no to the people who are holding you back. It's about saying no to the things that are taking you away from your own potential. You can be kind, but you don't have to be a doormat. You can be helpful, but you don't have to sacrifice your own success in the process. It's time to stop letting people take advantage of your kindness, and it's time to start protecting your energy, your time, and your goals. Think about it. How many times have you said yes to something just because you didn't want to disappoint someone? How many times have you given your time and energy to someone, only to feel unappreciated or drained afterward? How many times have you allowed someone to use your kindness to get what they wanted, leaving you with nothing in return? This pattern is not sustainable, it's not healthy, and it's not the way to achieve success. Success requires focus. Success requires you to put yourself first. It requires you to recognize that your goals, your time, and your energy are valuable. It requires you to stop letting others take advantage of your kindness. You don't have to feel guilty about saying no. You don't have to feel bad for prioritizing yourself. When you stop letting people take advantage of your kindness, you are doing them a favor. You are helping them to grow, to take responsibility for their own lives, and to stop relying on others to do the hard work for them. And when you start protecting your own time and energy, you will feel a shift in your life. You will start to feel more confident, more empowered, and more focused on your own success. You will start attracting people who respect your time, your energy, and your boundaries. You will start to build relationships based on mutual respect, not on exploitation. Success is not about constantly pleasing others. It's about knowing when to help, and knowing when to step back. It's about knowing when to give, and knowing when to say no. It's about setting boundaries that protect your time, your energy, and your dreams. Stop letting people take advantage of your kindness. Stop saying yes when you should say no. Start setting boundaries. Start protecting your energy. Start prioritizing your goals, and watch as your success begins to unfold. Number 2. Stand up for yourself and set strong boundaries. To truly step into your own potential and achieve the success you're capable of, standing up for yourself and setting strong boundaries is absolutely non-negotiable. If you want to make meaningful progress in life, if you want to build the kind of future that excites you, you must learn how to assert yourself. It's as simple as that. When you allow people to walk all over you, when you let them push you around, when you don't defend your space, your values, or your time, you're making a choice. You're choosing to stay stuck, to remain small, to allow others to control your life. That's not the path to success, not the path to the greatness you were made for. It's tough, I know. Standing up for yourself means you'll face some discomfort. People won't always like it. They might push back. But here's the reality. You have to be willing to stand firm in your decisions and fight for your right to be treated with respect. That's how you take control of your life. That's how you take charge of your future. So let's get one thing clear right away. Standing up for yourself is not about being rude, confrontational, or disrespectful. It's about establishing respect for yourself and making it clear that you will not allow anyone to treat you as less than you deserve. It's about saying I matter. My time matters. My goals matter. My well-being matters. This is where you set the tone for your life. The boundaries you create will define the relationships you have with others. And here's the truth. The better your boundaries, the more successful you'll become. Why? Because strong boundaries protect your time, energy, and resources, things that are vital if you want to achieve big things. A lot of people have weak boundaries. They say yes when they should say no. They let others take advantage of them because they don't know how to stand firm. They bend over backward to avoid conflict, even if it means sacrificing their own needs, dreams, and well-being. But this approach never leads to success. In fact, it keeps you stuck in a loop of dissatisfaction, frustration, and missed opportunities. If you've ever been in a situation where you've given more than you should, where you've sacrificed your own needs to keep others happy, you know how draining it can be. You know how it feels to be pulled in a million different directions, to give so much of yourself, and yet feel like you're not getting anything in return. It's exhausting, and it's a pattern that keeps you from reaching your full potential. Now imagine what your life would look like if you set strong boundaries, if you stood up for yourself in every situation. Imagine being able to say no when you need to, without feeling guilty. Imagine taking control of your time, your energy, and your resources. Imagine people respecting you because you respect yourself. That's the kind of life you can have when you set strong boundaries. When you stand up for yourself, you're not just protecting your own peace of mind. You're teaching others how to treat you. When you allow people to treat you poorly, to take advantage of you, you're showing them that it's acceptable. But when you assert yourself and demand respect, you're showing them that you will not tolerate disrespect or mistreatment. And that creates a ripple effect in your life. People will begin to treat you with the respect you deserve, and that will open doors for you. One of the most important aspects of standing up for yourself is the ability to say no. We've all been there. Someone asks you for a favor, and you don't want to disappoint them, so you say yes, even though you don't have the time or energy to help. You agree to something that doesn't align with your goals, and then you feel resentful afterward, because you've given away something that should have been yours. This is where strong boundaries come into play. When you learn to say no, when you learn to protect your time and energy, you're giving yourself the freedom to focus on what truly matters. You're taking control of your life. Saying no is not selfish. In fact, it's the opposite. It's an act of self-respect. It's saying that your time, your goals, and your well-being are more important than constantly trying to please others. And when you start saying no, you'll be amazed at how much better you feel. You'll have more time for the things that actually matter to you, and you'll stop feeling drained and overwhelmed. Setting boundaries also means recognizing that your energy is limited. You can't pour from an empty cup, and if you're constantly giving to others, always putting their needs ahead of your own, you're going to burn out. You're going to feel like you're running on empty. And when that happens, you'll have nothing left to give to the things that are important to you. You won't have the energy to focus on your own goals, to take care of your health, or to nurture your relationships. But when you stand up for yourself, when you draw the line and protect your energy, you have more to give to the things that matter. You'll have more focus, more motivation, more drive. And the best part? You won't feel resentful or burned out. You'll feel empowered, because you're taking control of your life and your future. It's time to stop letting other people dictate how you spend your time and energy. It's time to stop being a people pleaser. It's time to stand up for yourself. When you do this, you are building the foundation for a successful, fulfilling life. You are taking ownership of your time, your resources, and your future. Now, I know that standing up for yourself can be uncomfortable. It's not always easy to say no. It's not always easy to stand firm when others are pushing you to give more than you can handle. But here's the thing. Every time you stand up for yourself, it gets easier. Every time you set a boundary, you're building muscle, you're strengthening your confidence, and over time you'll become more and more comfortable, asserting yourself and protecting your energy. Don't let fear of rejection or conflict hold you back from standing up for yourself. don't let the fear of disappointing others stop you from taking care of yourself. The truth is, the more you respect yourself, the more others will respect you. And that's how you build strong, healthy relationships that support your goals, not hold you back. You have to be willing to protect your time. You have to be willing to say no when necessary. You have to be willing to stand firm in your decisions. And when you do this, you'll find that you attract people who respect your boundaries, who value your time, and who support your growth. These are the kinds of people you want in your life, not the ones who take advantage of your kindness or drain your energy. Standing up for yourself and setting strong boundaries is a skill you can develop over time. It's not something you're born with, but it's something you can learn. And when you do, you'll start to see the power you have in your life. You'll start to see how much control you actually have over your future. And most importantly, you'll start to see the results of your efforts, more opportunities, stronger relationships, and a clearer path to success. Success doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you make intentional decisions. It happens because you stand up for yourself, set strong boundaries, and protect your time and energy. It happens because you stop letting other people dictate your life, and you start taking ownership of your own journey. Number 3. Say no without feeling guilty or explaining yourself. Saying no is one of the most powerful tools you have in life, but it's also one of the hardest things to do, especially when you've been conditioned to always please others. The truth is, being able to say no without feeling guilty or needing to explain yourself is a skill that will free you, empower you, and propel you toward your goals. If you want to succeed, this is something you have to master. Let's get one thing straight. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you selfish or uncaring. In fact, it's one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and for the people around you. It's a declaration that your time, energy, and resources are valuable. It's a declaration that you respect yourself enough to make choices that align with your values and your goals. Too often we say yes when we really want to say no because we fear rejection or conflict. We don't want to disappoint people, so we agree to things that drain us, that take us off course, that eat into the precious time we could be using to build our own dreams. Over time, this habit not only leads to resentment and burnout, but also prevents us from moving forward in life. When you constantly say yes to things that don't align with your goals, you're not making progress. You're not building your dream life. You're building someone else's. Whether it's a family member, a friend, a boss, or a colleague, everyone around you has their own agenda. And while it's important to be kind and considerate, the reality is, you are the only one who can take responsibility for your life and your success. When you're constantly saying yes to others at the expense of your own needs, you're giving away your power. You're letting others control your time and your energy, and without strong boundaries and the ability to say no, you're setting yourself up for a life of frustration and mediocrity. It's important to understand that saying no doesn't require a lengthy explanation. You don't owe anyone a detailed reason for your decision. Your time and energy are yours to protect, and you are the one who gets to decide how to use them. When you explain yourself too much, you weaken your position and make it easier for others to push you into doing things you don't want to do. Think about it. How many times have you said yes to something you didn't want to do, and then found yourself regretting it later? How many times have you felt obligated to help someone, even when you knew that it wasn't in your best interest? That's the price you pay for not saying no. And the longer you continue this pattern, the more you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of pleasing others at the cost of your own success. You might be thinking, but what if they get upset with me? The truth is, they might. People who are used to you saying yes might not handle it well when you start setting boundaries. But guess what? Their reaction is not your problem. How they respond is about them, not you. Your job is to protect your time, your energy, and your goals. You have to make yourself a priority, and sometimes that means saying no. Let's talk about guilt for a second. The guilt that comes with saying no can be overwhelming, especially if you've spent your life being the people pleaser. But here's the thing, guilt is an emotion that is often created by your own beliefs and conditioning. It's not something that's inherently true. You don't have to feel guilty for protecting your time. You don't have to feel guilty for setting boundaries. The only thing you should feel guilty about is continuing to sacrifice your well-being, your dreams and your goals for others who aren't respecting your needs. The more you practice saying no, the less guilt you'll feel, and eventually, you'll realize that it's not just okay to say no, it's necessary. Saying no is an act of self-respect. It's a way of telling yourself that you matter, that your time is valuable, and that you deserve to be treated with respect. And when you start to believe that, you'll start to live it. One of the key things to remember is that saying no allows you to say yes to the things that really matter. When you say no to distractions, to obligations that drain you, and to people who take advantage of your kindness, you're saying yes to yourself. You're saying yes to your goals, your health, your relationships that truly nourish you, and the life you want to build. Now let's be clear. Saying no doesn't mean you stop helping people. It doesn't mean you stop being a good friend, a good colleague, a good partner. But it does mean that you help in ways that align with your values and your priorities. You help when it's right for you, not when it's right for everyone else. Saying no also means that you stop spreading yourself too thin. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you have to do everything and be everywhere. But the truth is, no one can do it all, and trying to do so only leads to burnout. You have to focus on what truly matters, what aligns with your vision, and what moves you closer to your goals. So how do you start saying no without feeling guilty? The first step is to realize that you have every right to say no. Your time, energy, and resources are yours to protect. You don't have to say yes to everything, and you don't have to explain yourself. In fact, the less you explain, the more powerful your no becomes. When you say no, do it with confidence. You don't need to justify your decision or make excuses. A simple "no, I can't do that," is enough. If the person presses for an explanation, you can say, "I'm focusing on something else right now," or "It's not the right time for me." You don't owe them more than that. And remember, if they respect you, they'll respect your boundaries. If they don't, that's a reflection of their values, not yours. Over time, as you get better at saying no, you'll find that the guilt fades away. Saying no will become easier, and you'll start to notice how much more control you have over your life. You'll start to notice how much more energy you have for the things that matter. And most importantly, you'll notice that you're making progress toward your goals, because you're no longer wasting time on things that aren't serving you. Understand this. Saying no is not about being harsh or selfish. It's about being smart, being strategic, and making choices that align with your best interests. You're saying no to distractions, so you can say yes to your dreams. You're saying no to things that drain you, so you can say yes to things that inspire you. And in the process, you'll gain the respect of others who will see that you're someone who takes their life seriously and values their time. It's time to stop being afraid of saying no. It's time to stop letting guilt control your decisions. Saying no is one of the most powerful ways to take control of your life, to protect your energy, and to move forward on the path toward success. So start practicing today. Say no when you need to. Don't explain yourself. Don't feel guilty. Just say no, and watch how your life begins to change. Number 4. Prioritize your goals over pleasing everyone around you. Prioritizing your goals over the desire to please everyone around you is essential to personal success. In the world we live in, we're often taught that being liked and accepted by others is paramount. We think that by putting everyone else first we'll win their approval, and that approval will lead to happiness. But this mindset is a trap. It holds you back, prevents you from achieving your dreams, and leaves you feeling unfulfilled. The truth is, when you focus on pleasing everyone around you, you lose sight of your own goals. You start to put other people's needs before your own, and before long, your goals are no longer a priority. Instead, you become a people pleaser, constantly trying to meet the expectations of others, but never meeting your own. This is a pattern that keeps you stuck in mediocrity. If you want to be successful, you have to make a shift. You have to recognize that your goals matter, your dreams matter, your time matters, and you have to stop letting the opinions of others dictate how you spend your time and energy. This doesn't mean you stop caring about the people around you. It means you stop sacrificing your own progress to please others. Start by understanding this. People will always have demands, needs, and expectations. That's the reality of human relationships. But the important thing to recognize is that you are the one in control of your life. You are the one who gets to decide where you spend your time, how you allocate your energy, and what you focus on. If you give in to every request, every demand, and every expectation, you'll never make progress toward your own goals. You'll constantly be reacting to other people's agendas instead of creating your own. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that we must always be available for others. We've been taught that saying no is rude or selfish, but in reality, it's the exact opposite. Saying no is a form of self-respect. It's a way of saying my time, my energy, and my goals are important too. If you're constantly putting other people's needs ahead of your own, you'll never have the time or the mental bandwidth to focus on what truly matters to you. Ask yourself, when was the last time you took a step back and thought about your own goals? When was the last time you actively prioritized your success? If you're being honest, it's probably been a while. The truth is, when you're always focused on pleasing others, you end up neglecting your own growth. You're busy making everyone else happy, but at the expense of your own happiness. And that's a dangerous cycle. To break this cycle, you need to recognize that your goals are your responsibility, and you cannot afford to let other people's needs come before your own. This doesn't mean you should be selfish or inconsiderate, but it does mean that you have to draw boundaries. It's essential to learn how to say no, how to protect your time, and how to focus on what truly matters. One of the most important things you can do is to set clear goals and keep them front and center in your mind. Write them down, visualize them, and make a plan for how to achieve them. When you have a clear vision of where you're going, it becomes easier to stay focused and stay on track. But when you let the opinions of others guide your decisions, it's easy to get off course. Think about the people in your life who are constantly asking for your time, attention, or help. Are they supporting you in achieving your goals, or are they pulling you away from them? While it's important to be there for the people you care about, you have to ask yourself whether their demands are helping you move forward or holding you back. If you find that you're always putting others first and not making time for yourself, it's time to reevaluate your priorities. You might think that by constantly pleasing others, you'll build strong relationships and gain their approval. But in reality, you're doing yourself and them a disservice. When you constantly sacrifice your own needs for the sake of others, you create an imbalance. You become the person who is always there for others, but who never takes the time to be there for yourself. And eventually, this can lead to resentment and burnout. Pleasing others might feel good in the short term, but it's not sustainable. The more you focus on their needs, the more you'll neglect your own, and the further you'll get from your own success. It's a cycle that keeps you stuck, but it doesn't have to be your reality. You have the power to break free and start prioritizing your goals. So how do you start prioritizing your goals over pleasing others? It begins with understanding that you are the most important person in your life. Without your health, your energy, and your focus, you can't show up for anyone else. That's why it's essential to make your own dreams a priority. The first step is to stop apologizing for your goals. Don't feel guilty for focusing on what you want to achieve. You are not responsible for making everyone else happy. Your success is just as important as anyone else's, and it's time to stop putting your goals on the back burner. It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment to focus on your dreams. The perfect moment is now. Once you make this mindset shift, it becomes easier to say no to things that don't align with your goals. You'll no longer feel obligated to do things just to please others. Instead, you'll start making choices that move you closer to your dreams. And as you do, you'll find that the people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries and support your goals. It's important to surround yourself with people who encourage your growth. If you're constantly surrounded by people who demand your time without offering anything in return, it will be hard to stay focused on your own goals. Find people who inspire you, who challenge you, and who support your journey. These are the relationships that will help you thrive. Another key to prioritizing your goals is creating a schedule that reflects your priorities. Look at how you're spending your time each day. Are you dedicating enough time to your goals, or are you filling your days with distractions and obligations that don't move you closer to where you want to go? Make a plan and stick to it. Treat your goals like appointments that can't be missed. Don't let anyone take your time without your consent. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're giving away your most precious resource, your time. Instead, say no when it's necessary, and make sure that your time is spent doing things that bring you closer to your dreams. In the end, your success depends on your ability to prioritize your goals. If you continue to prioritize the needs of others at the expense of your own, you'll always be left feeling unfulfilled. But if you start putting yourself first, if you start making your goals the priority, you'll unlock the power to achieve anything you set your mind to. Your goals are worth fighting for. You are worth fighting for. Don't let the desire to please others keep you from your dreams. It's time to put yourself first and make your success non-negotiable. Start today. Prioritize your goals, protect your time, and take the first step toward the life you deserve. You have what it takes. It's time to go after it.
Number 5. Speak your mind with confidence and without hesitation. Speaking your mind with confidence and without hesitation is a crucial aspect of building a successful life. It's one of the most powerful tools you can use to stand out, assert your value, and set yourself apart from the crowd. Many people, especially those who are overly nice, shy away from expressing themselves fully, fearing judgment or conflict. This hesitation comes at a cost. It prevents you from showing the world who you really are and what you stand for. If you want to achieve the success you deserve, you must learn to speak your mind with conviction, and you must do so without regret. The truth is, when you hold back your thoughts, opinions, and ideas, you're letting opportunities slip through your fingers. Every time you stay silent out of fear, you lose the chance to influence, inspire, and make a real impact. But the moment you begin to speak up confidently, your life begins to change. You start to show others that you value yourself and that you have something meaningful to contribute. Confidence doesn't come naturally to everyone, especially if you've spent years prioritizing the approval of others. It can be difficult to find your voice when you're constantly worried about how others will perceive you. But here's something you need to realize. You cannot please everyone. It's simply impossible. People have different opinions, different beliefs, and different perspectives. And that's okay. What matters is that you're true to yourself and that you have the courage to speak your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. There's a difference between speaking your mind and blurting out whatever comes to your head. Speaking your mind with confidence means being deliberate with your words and understanding the impact they can have. It's about choosing your words carefully, but without second-guessing yourself. It's about being clear, honest, and direct, without overthinking every sentence or worrying about what people might think. But first, you must believe in the value of your thoughts. Your opinions matter, your ideas are important, and your voice deserves to be heard. Too often, we get caught up in self-doubt and question whether what we have to say is worth sharing. This can prevent us from speaking up when it matters most. The truth is, the world needs more people who are unafraid to express their ideas. When you withhold your thoughts, you're not only holding yourself back, but you're also denying others the chance to benefit from your perspective. Speaking your mind confidently also means being able to stand your ground. When you express your opinions, especially if they differ from what others believe, you might face resistance. That's perfectly normal. In fact, it's a sign that you're challenging the status quo and pushing boundaries. It's easy to stay quiet and go along with what others say, but it takes courage to disagree and stand by your convictions. This is how you grow and how you inspire others to think critically as well. One of the biggest fears people have when it comes to speaking their minds is the fear of rejection. They worry that if they voice an unpopular opinion or disagree with someone, they will be rejected or ridiculed. The fear of judgment can be paralyzing. But here's the reality: if you're always worried about what others think, you will never truly live authentically. The truth is, most people are more focused on their own lives than they are on judging yours. And even if someone does judge you, it says more about them than it does about you. Confidence doesn't come from being liked by everyone. It comes from being comfortable in your own skin. To speak your mind with confidence,
you must be willing to embrace vulnerability. You must be willing to take the risk that someone might not agree with you, or that someone might not like what you have to say. But remember, not everyone needs to like you or agree with you. What matters is that you are true to yourself and that you speak your truth. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you build resilience. You become stronger because you realize that your worth is not determined by external approval. It's also important to recognize that speaking your mind isn't about being aggressive or confrontational. Confidence doesn't mean bulldozing over others or forcing your opinions on people. It's about expressing yourself respectfully, even when your views differ from others. Confidence means being able to articulate your thoughts clearly and assertively, while still listening to others and acknowledging their perspectives. It's about finding a balance between expressing your truth and respecting the truths of others. When you begin to speak your mind with confidence, you'll notice a shift in how people treat you. People respect individuals who can communicate clearly and assertively. They trust those who are willing to share their thoughts and opinions, even when they might not always agree. Confidence draws people to you. It's magnetic. When you stand tall and speak from a place of conviction, others will listen. They'll pay attention to what you say because they know that your words come from a place of authenticity and strength. The key to speaking your mind confidently is to stop overthinking. So many people second-guess themselves and worry about how their words will be received. They think, what if they don't like me? Or what if I sound stupid? These thoughts create hesitation, and hesitation leads to missed opportunities. Instead of worrying about what could go wrong, focus on what could go right. Think about the positive impact your words could have. Think about how speaking your mind might inspire someone else, open a conversation, or create a new opportunity. When you focus on the potential positive outcomes, you'll start to feel more confident in your ability to speak up. One of the best ways to build confidence in your voice is through practice. The more you practice speaking your mind, the easier it becomes. Start small. Share your thoughts in casual conversations, express your opinion in meetings, or offer your input in discussions. The more you do it, the more natural it will feel. And over time, you'll find that your confidence grows. You'll stop hesitating, and you'll start speaking with the assurance that your words matter. Remember, speaking your mind is not just about what you say, it's also about how you say it. Your body language, tone of voice, and the way you carry yourself all contribute to how confident you appear. Stand tall, make eye contact, and speak clearly. When you do this, you send a message to yourself and to others that you believe in what you're saying. It's impossible to be truly confident if you're slouched, mumbling, or avoiding eye contact. Confidence is a combination of both your internal belief in yourself and your external actions.
Number 6. Demand respect from others and never settle for less. Demanding respect from others and never settling for less is one of the most crucial steps you can take in your journey toward success. It is not enough to simply expect respect. You must require it. And more importantly, you must be willing to walk away from any situation or relationship where respect is not given. People often tolerate disrespect because they fear conflict, they fear standing up for themselves, or they don't believe they deserve better. But the truth is, if you don't demand respect, you are essentially allowing others to dictate your worth, and this will prevent you from achieving the success you desire. Respect is a cornerstone of healthy relationships, both personal and professional. It is the foundation upon which trust, understanding, and effective collaboration are built. If you tolerate disrespect, you will quickly find that people will treat you according to the standards you set for yourself. When you allow others to walk all over you, they will continue to do so. They will see your lack of boundaries as an invitation to disrespect you further. This can quickly erode your self-esteem, damage your relationships, and most importantly, hinder your progress toward success. The first step in demanding respect is recognizing that you are worthy of it. Far too many people wait for others to validate their worth. They hope others will recognize their value and treat them accordingly. This is a mistake. You cannot wait for others to tell you that you deserve respect. This needs to come from within. If you don't value yourself and set clear boundaries, no one else will. This is a powerful shift in mindset that will lay the foundation for everything you do. You must understand that you are deserving of respect, regardless of your background, circumstances, or mistakes you may have made in the past. Every person, regardless of their position or status, deserves respect. Respect is not about demanding praise or recognition for everything you do, but about requiring that others treat you with dignity,
understanding, and consideration. When you demand respect, you are asserting that you will not accept anything less than what you deserve. You are telling the world that your time, your energy, and your presence are valuable. And the moment you do this, the world will begin to treat you differently. To demand respect, you must first set boundaries. This is where many people falter. They are afraid to set boundaries because they worry about what others will think or fear that they will lose relationships. But the truth is, if people respect you, they will respect your boundaries. If they don't, it's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their inability to respect others. Setting boundaries means saying no when you need to, refusing to tolerate unacceptable behavior, and clearly communicating what is acceptable and what is not. When you set boundaries, you make it clear that you are in control of your life, and you will not let anyone else dictate your worth. Boundaries are not just about saying no to others, they are also about saying yes to yourself. Saying no to something that does not align with your values or goals is an act of self-respect. It is an affirmation that your time, energy, and focus are valuable, and you will not waste them on things or people that don't contribute positively to your life. By setting these boundaries, you create the space to pursue your goals and the success you deserve. And as you do this, you will find that the respect you demand from others starts to flow naturally. The next step in demanding respect is to stop tolerating behavior that diminishes your self-worth. Many people mistakenly believe that tolerating mistreatment is a sign of strength, or that if they are nice enough, others will change. The reality is that people will only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. If you consistently tolerate disrespect, others will begin to see this as an invitation to treat you poorly. It's important to recognize that you do not have to put up with behavior that makes you feel less than or diminishes your self-worth. This can be a tough realization, especially if you are used to putting others' needs above your own, but the moment you refuse to tolerate mistreatment, things begin to change. The key to demanding respect is consistency. You cannot demand respect one day and then allow others to disrespect you the next. This creates confusion and inconsistency in the way people perceive you. If you are going to demand respect, you need to be unwavering in your standards. If someone crosses a line, call it out. If someone disrespects you, address it. This doesn't mean that you have to be confrontational or aggressive. You don't need to yell or get emotional. What you need is to be clear, direct, and firm. Express how their behavior is unacceptable and stand your ground. Another important aspect of demanding respect is modeling respect for yourself and others. Respect is not something you can demand without giving it in return. If you want others to treat you with dignity, you must first treat them with dignity. This doesn't mean allowing others to walk all over you, but it means showing up with kindness, understanding, and empathy. It's about recognizing that respect goes both ways. When you treat others with respect, you set the standard for how you expect to be treated in return. If you don't show respect to others, how can you expect them to show it to you? Now let's talk about one of the most challenging aspects of demanding respect: letting go of relationships that drain you. Sometimes demanding respect means walking away from people or situations that no longer serve you. This can be incredibly difficult, especially if you've invested time, energy, and emotion into the relationship. But here's the truth. If a person is consistently disrespecting you, they are not worthy of your time or energy. Letting go doesn't mean you hate them or that you wish them ill. It simply means that you are valuing yourself enough to remove yourself from toxic situations. It means that you understand that your time and energy are precious, and you will not waste them on people who cannot see your worth.
Number 7. Make decisions based on logic, not just emotions. Making decisions based on logic rather than emotions is one of the most empowering actions you can take. When you rely solely on your emotions to guide your choices, you are setting yourself up for inconsistency and impulsive decisions that may not serve your long-term goals. Emotions are powerful, no doubt about it. They shape how we experience the world, but they can also cloud our judgment and lead us down paths that don't align with the best version of ourselves. Logic, on the other hand, is rooted in clarity, reason, and understanding. It's the tool that enables you to assess a situation objectively and make decisions based on facts, evidence, and strategic thinking. When you allow logic to drive your decisions, you're more likely to make choices that serve your overall vision rather than reacting to momentary feelings. The challenge here is not that emotions don't have a place in our lives, they do, but rather that they shouldn't be the sole factor in guiding your decisions.
When emotions are in the driver's seat, they can lead to decisions that are hasty, regretful, and ultimately counterproductive. A person driven by emotion might act out of fear, insecurity, or impatience, but logic encourages patience, foresight, and discipline. It's about having the ability to pause, step back, and think critically before acting. So how do you start making decisions based on logic instead of emotions? First, you need to acknowledge that emotional reactions are natural. Everyone feels emotional. It's part of being human. But just because you feel something strongly doesn't mean you should act on it immediately. It's important to take a moment to reflect on why you feel the way you do. Is it because of a past experience, fear of the unknown, or uncertainty about the future? Identifying the root cause of your emotions will help you understand them better, and more importantly, it will give you a moment to decide if the emotion should be the guide or if logic should be the determining factor. When emotions are high, logic is often low. Emotional decisions tend to be reactive, driven by urgency or external pressures. But when you operate from a logical perspective, you give yourself the gift of time. You don't rush. Instead, you take the necessary steps to gather the information you need to make an informed choice. You weigh your options, consider the consequences, and think about the bigger picture. You ask yourself questions like, will this decision move me closer to my goals? Will this decision positively impact my future? Will I regret making this choice in the long run? Many people let emotions guide them because they fear missing out or making the wrong choice. But this mindset only reinforces poor decision-making. When you allow your emotions to take control, you're often making decisions based on short-term gratification, not long-term gain. Logic, however, encourages you to think in terms of long-term results. It forces you to weigh the pros and cons and evaluate how a decision aligns with your bigger goals. One of the most important aspects of making decisions based on logic is developing emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing emotions, it's about recognizing and understanding them. When you're emotionally intelligent, you can observe your feelings without letting them dictate your actions. You learn how to acknowledge your emotional state, assess it, and then choose whether it should influence your decision-making process. This self-awareness is key to taking control of your life and making decisions that align with your true values. As you develop this emotional awareness, it's also important to surround yourself with people who encourage logical thinking. While we all have emotions, having people around us who can offer perspective and help us see situations through a more rational lens is invaluable. These people don't let you be ruled by your feelings, and they hold you accountable for making choices that are in line with your long-term well-being. They push you to think strategically rather than react impulsively. In addition, you need to have clarity about your goals and values. It's impossible to make logical decisions if you don't have a clear understanding of what you want and what matters most to you. When your goals are defined, logic becomes the tool that helps you make choices that move you closer to them. Without clear goals, your decisions become scattered, and you'll find yourself making choices based on fleeting emotions rather than a clear vision of where you want to go. Moreover, making decisions based on logic requires you to embrace patience. Far too many people make decisions too quickly because they feel pressure to act. In business, in relationships, in life, it's easy to get caught up in the urgency of the moment. But patience is key. Logic allows you to step back and reflect. It encourages you to wait for the right moment, to gather the necessary information, and to think carefully before making a move. Patience doesn't mean indecision. It means giving yourself the time and space to make informed, deliberate choices. Let's talk about how to differentiate between emotional decisions and logical ones. Emotional decisions often come from a place of discomfort or desire to avoid a negative emotion. For example, someone may decide to stay in an unhealthy relationship because they fear loneliness or the discomfort of change. A logical decision, on the other hand, is made after thoughtful consideration of the situation as a whole, understanding the consequences, and making the choice that is best for your future, regardless of the short-term discomfort. Another way to tell the difference is by looking at the underlying motivation. Emotional decisions are often driven by an external influence, such as someone else's expectations or societal pressure, while logical decisions come from within. You make a decision based on your own understanding of what's best for you, your future, and your values. This internal compass guides you toward the decision that will yield the most beneficial long-term results.
When you start making decisions based on logic rather than emotions, you'll see how much control you have over your life. It's a shift in perspective. It's about recognizing that while emotions will always be part of the equation, you are not a prisoner to them. You have the power to choose how you respond to situations and how you make choices. And the more you exercise that power, the more your success will grow. Of course, there will be times when emotions come into play, and that's perfectly normal. You may feel excited about a new opportunity, or perhaps you are facing a challenging decision that evokes fear. But the key is to use your emotions as a tool, not a driving force. Acknowledge the emotion, but don't let it override your rational thinking. Logic allows you to pause, take a step back, and make decisions with a calm and focused mind. As you learn to make decisions based on logic, you'll notice that your results begin to shift. You'll make fewer mistakes, experience less regret, and have a much clearer path toward your goals. You'll make decisions with confidence, knowing that you've taken the time to consider all the factors, and that your choices are in alignment with your values. The bottom line is this: your emotions are powerful, but they should not be in control of your decisions. Logic will always serve you better in the long run. It helps you make decisions that are aligned with your bigger goals, and ensures that you're not swayed by momentary feelings or impulses. So take control of your decision-making process. Use logic as your guide, trust yourself, and make choices that will help you build the life and success you desire.
Number 8. Recognize that being too nice leads to failure. Being too nice may seem like a virtue in many social circles, but when it comes to your personal success and long-term goals, it can be one of your greatest obstacles. Many people are under the false impression that kindness and success can coexist effortlessly, and they often feel that in order to be successful, they need to please everyone around them. This mindset, however, is a dangerous one, and it can hold you back from reaching your full potential. We live in a world where we are constantly told that being nice, agreeable, and accommodating is the best way to get ahead. Society encourages us to avoid confrontation, say yes to everything, and go out of our way to make other people comfortable. But the truth is that these actions can undermine your ability to succeed. When you're too nice, you're not prioritizing your own needs, goals, and values. Instead, you're catering to the expectations and desires of others. And that leads to a life that is more about pleasing others than about living your own truth. Let's be clear, kindness is important, but there is a big difference between being kind and being a pushover. Being a pushover means allowing others to take advantage of your generosity, your time, and your energy without expecting anything in return. It means saying yes when you want to say no and doing things for others that drain your energy and prevent you from focusing on your own priorities. It's a cycle of giving without receiving, of sacrificing your own goals in order to appease others. And that cycle can be a recipe for failure. When you're too nice, you allow others to set the terms of your life. You give them control over your time, your resources, and your future. Instead of focusing on your own aspirations and working towards your own dreams, you spend all your energy trying to meet the expectations of others. This is not only emotionally draining, but it's also counterproductive. You're putting everyone else first and yourself last, which ultimately prevents you from moving forward in life. This pattern of self-sacrifice may give you temporary satisfaction or approval, but it won't lead to long-term success or fulfillment. The first thing you need to realize is that success doesn't happen when you are constantly accommodating others. In order to achieve your goals, you have to be focused and driven by your own vision. You can't achieve success if you're always bending over backward for everyone else. The truth is that when you are too nice, you're allowing others to take up space in your mind and in your life. You're not leaving room for your own ambitions to grow. When you make everyone else's needs a priority, you lose sight of your own. You might find yourself overwhelmed with responsibilities that aren't even yours, all because you were too nice to say no. You'll end up saying yes to tasks that don't contribute to your goals or to requests that you don't have the time or resources for. Over time, this can lead to burnout, frustration, and resentment. You'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of saying yes because you don't want to disappoint anyone, but deep down you'll be sacrificing your own happiness and progress. The people who succeed are the ones who are willing to set boundaries. They know when to say no, and they don't let the opinions or requests of others derail their focus. Successful people prioritize their time and energy in a way that aligns with their goals. They are unapologetically protective of their resources, and they refuse to let anyone take advantage of them.
They don't make decisions based on guilt or the desire to be liked. They make decisions based on their long-term vision and their commitment to their success. If you find that being too nice is holding you back, the first step is to start setting boundaries. You need to be clear about what you're willing to accept and what you're not. This means being honest with yourself about where your time, energy, and focus need to go. If someone asks you to do something that doesn't align with your goals, don't be afraid to say no. It's not about being rude or unkind. It's about protecting your time and energy so that you can give your best to the things that matter most. Recognizing that being too nice leads to failure is a game changer. Once you understand that being overly accommodating is holding you back, you can start to make intentional decisions that prioritize your own growth. It's about finding balance. Yes, you can still be kind and generous, but you have to learn to say no when it's necessary. You have to be willing to set boundaries and stand firm in your commitment to yourself and your goals. People who are overly nice often fear rejection, confrontation, or disappointing others. They think that if they don't say yes, they will lose relationships or opportunities. But the truth is that saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values their time and their future. It's not about being selfish. It's about being self-respectful. When you say no to things that don't serve your goals, you're making space for the things that do. You're telling the world that your time, energy, and resources are valuable, and that you won't let anyone take advantage of them. One of the hardest things for people who are too nice to do is to stop people pleasing. This habit is deeply ingrained in many of us, especially if we were raised to believe that kindness and agreeability are the keys to getting ahead. But this mindset is flawed. People who succeed don't get there by trying to please everyone. They get there by being focused, intentional, and unapologetically committed to their own path. They don't waste time trying to gain approval from others. They invest that time in creating value, building relationships that support their goals and working towards their vision. You also need to recognize that people will respect you more when you stand up for yourself. When you consistently put others' needs ahead of your own, you teach them that your time and energy are not valuable. You teach them that you will always say yes no matter how much it costs you. But when you learn to say no, you are setting a clear standard for how others should treat you. You are showing them that your time is important and that you value your own goals. This will earn you respect, not only from others, but also from yourself. You'll feel more confident, more empowered, and more in control of your life. It's also important to note that being too nice often leads to resentment. When you're constantly saying yes to others but not to yourself, you begin to build up frustration and anger. You may find yourself feeling drained, taken advantage of, and unappreciated. And when those feelings build up, they can lead to burnout, negative self-talk, and a lack of motivation. The key to avoiding this is learning to say no and to prioritize your own goals without feeling guilty. You can still be kind, but you must also be firm in your commitment to yourself and your success. Being too nice will not get you the results you want in life. It will not help you achieve your goals, build the career you dream of, or cultivate the relationships that truly matter. The path to success requires discipline, boundaries, and the ability to make difficult decisions. It requires the courage to say no when necessary, and the confidence to prioritize your own needs over the desire to please everyone around you. When you start putting yourself first and stop being a doormat for others, you will see your life begin to change in profound ways. You will make more progress, experience less stress, and ultimately, you will become the person who is truly in control of their own destiny.
Number 9. Stop fearing rejection and start valuing self-respect. Fearing rejection is one of the most paralyzing emotions that people face when it comes to their personal growth and success. It's deeply ingrained in our psychology. From an early age, we are taught to seek approval and avoid criticism. Society often makes us believe that being accepted is the key to happiness and success. So, it's no surprise that rejection can feel like the end of the world to many. However, this fear of rejection can actually stop us from achieving what we truly want in life. It holds us back from speaking our truth, taking risks, and pursuing the goals that will lead to success. The reality is, rejection is a part of life. It's unavoidable. Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth, you will face rejection. But instead of fearing it, You should learn to embrace it as a necessary part of your journey. When you fear rejection, you stop taking risks. You avoid putting yourself out there. You play it safe, hoping to protect yourself from the sting of someone saying no or not accepting you. But in reality, playing it safe means you're not growing and you're not moving forward. You're simply stagnating in your comfort zone, and nothing successful ever comes from staying in your comfort zone. The truth is, rejection doesn't define you. It doesn't determine your worth or your value. If you let rejection control your actions, you will live a life dictated by fear and insecurity. You'll find yourself constantly second-guessing your decisions, and you'll be afraid to take any meaningful steps toward your goals. You'll avoid opportunities, skip important conversations, and miss out on the chance to grow simply because you're scared of being rejected. The truth is, rejection is not personal. It's just part of the process. The more you fear it, the more power you give it over your life. Instead of fearing rejection, shift your mindset to value self-respect. Self-respect is the foundation of your success and happiness. When you value your own worth, you stop seeking validation from others. You stop making decisions based on the fear of being judged or rejected. You start making decisions that align with your true desires and values. You set boundaries that protect your well-being, and you pursue goals that are meaningful to you, not based on what others think or expect from you. When you have self-respect, rejection doesn't feel as devastating. You understand that rejection is just one person's opinion, and it doesn't have to shape your perception of yourself. Rejection doesn't diminish your value. It simply means that the person or opportunity wasn't the right fit for you. When you truly value yourself, you realize that you don't need everyone's approval. You don't need to be liked by everyone to be successful or happy. You only need to be true to yourself and stay aligned with your own vision. Valuing self-respect means recognizing your own strengths and believing in your capabilities. When you trust in your abilities and stand by your values, the fear of rejection starts to fade. You no longer seek approval from others because you have an internal sense of worth. You don't need others to validate you because you already know who you are and what you bring to the table. One of the key things to understand about rejection is that it doesn't always reflect your value. People reject ideas, not people. People say no to opportunities, not to the person presenting them. Rejection can be the result of timing, circumstances, or a simple difference in priorities. It's not a reflection of your worth or your ability. If you take rejection personally, you're giving it power over you that it doesn't deserve. You're allowing a momentary setback to shape how you see yourself. Instead, reframe rejection as a tool for growth. Each time you face rejection, you have the chance to learn something about yourself and the situation. You can analyze what happened, figure out what you could do differently next time, and use that knowledge to improve. Rejection can help you refine your approach, sharpen your skills, and increase your resilience. Every no is just one step closer to a yes. It's not the end. It's simply a redirection. People who value self-respect don't let rejection derail them. They don't let it define their worth. Instead, they use it to fuel their motivation to keep going. Rejection isn't the end of the road. It's just a bump along the way. You'll face many obstacles and setbacks in life, but each one is an opportunity to grow stronger and more resilient. When you stop fearing rejection, you open yourself up to new possibilities. You free yourself from the paralyzing grip of fear and give yourself permission to take risks. One of the best ways to stop fearing rejection is to start taking action despite the fear. The more you put yourself out there, the less power rejection will have over you. Every time you face rejection and keep going, you strengthen your self-confidence and build your resilience. The more you experience rejection and continue moving forward, the more you'll realize that it doesn't have the power to hold you back. You'll start seeing rejection for what it is, a stepping stone on the path to success. When you face rejection and don't let it stop you, you show yourself that you value your own journey more than the opinions of others. You show that you're willing to put your goals above the fear of judgment or failure. This kind of self-respect is crucial to building the life you want. The more you prioritize your own growth and well-being, the less you'll worry about being rejected.
you'll realize that the only rejection that truly matters is the one you give yourself when you don't pursue your dreams or stay true to your values. It's also important to recognize that rejection is a natural part of life. Everyone experiences it, no matter how successful or accomplished they are. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is how they handle rejection. Successful people don't fear rejection, they embrace it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. They understand that rejection is not a reflection of their value, it's simply a part of the process. In order to stop fearing rejection, you need to stop measuring your worth based on external validation. Rejection can feel painful because it challenges our sense of worth, but when you value yourself internally, rejection becomes much easier to handle. You realize that rejection is simply one person's opinion, or one moment in time. It does not define your worth. When you truly believe in yourself, you stop giving rejection the power to dictate your actions. Self-respect is about knowing who you are and standing firm in your beliefs, no matter what others think or say. It's about knowing your value and not letting anyone diminish it. When you value yourself, you no longer seek validation from others. You no longer fear rejection because you know that you are enough, regardless of whether others accept you or not. If you want to stop fearing rejection, start by shifting your focus away from others' opinions and towards your own goals. Take control of your life by prioritizing what's important to you. Recognize that rejection is not a reflection of your worth, and that it's just a part of the journey. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it to fuel your determination to succeed. The more you value yourself, the less power rejection will have over you. When you stop fearing rejection and start valuing self-respect, you unlock the confidence and strength to go after your dreams and create the life you truly deserve.
Number 10. Act with strength and stop being overly agreeable. Acting with strength is about being firm in your beliefs, decisions, and actions. Too many people spend their lives trying to please others, agreeing with everyone just to avoid conflict, and worrying about how others will perceive them. It's exhausting. And worse, it stops you from growing and achieving what you truly want in life. You can't create the success, happiness, and fulfillment you deserve if you're constantly trying to keep everyone else happy. It's a fact. The people who succeed and move ahead in life are the ones who take charge of their own destiny, stand firm in their decisions, and stop being overly agreeable to every single person they encounter. Being overly agreeable may seem like a good thing at first, but in reality, it's a huge disadvantage. It comes from a place of fear of rejection, fear of conflict, and fear of being disliked. But constantly saying yes to others, especially when it doesn't align with your own goals and values, is not only draining, it's also a barrier to your success. If you're always saying yes to other people's needs and desires, then where does that leave your own dreams, your own growth, and your own ambitions? You've got to recognize that by always agreeing with everyone and trying to make everyone happy, you are ignoring your own needs, desires, and goals. You're putting others ahead of yourself, and that's a fast-track route to frustration, resentment, and burnout. Strength comes from standing up for yourself and saying no when you need to. It's about making decisions that are in alignment with your vision for your life, not based on the expectations or demands of others. If you want to achieve your true potential, you have to stop compromising yourself just to make others feel comfortable. Many people are afraid of conflict, and that's understandable. Conflict doesn't feel good, but the reality is that avoiding conflict by being overly agreeable is actually preventing you from growing and achieving your goals. Growth requires discomfort. It requires doing things that feel awkward, challenging, or uncomfortable. When you say yes to everything, you're avoiding the hard work of standing your ground and making tough decisions. You're not pushing yourself toward the life you want. You're allowing yourself to be carried along by the current of everyone else's demands. You're letting others define your journey. People who act with strength, on the other hand, make their own decisions and own those decisions. They don't let others manipulate or pressure them into agreeing with things that don't serve their best interests. They set clear boundaries and aren't afraid to say no when necessary. Strength doesn't mean being rude or aggressive. It means being clear, firm, and unapologetic in your choices. You don't need to explain yourself every time you make a decision. You have the right to act in a way that benefits you, and that often means saying no to things that aren't in alignment with your purpose. You're in control of your life. The decisions you make now will shape the future you create. If you want to build a successful life, a fulfilling life, a life you're proud of, you need to stop being overly agreeable. You need to stop letting others dictate your actions. You need to make choices that serve you, not just them. People will respect you more when you act with strength. They may not always agree with you, and that's okay. People who are strong enough to be themselves, to stand firm in their beliefs, are the ones who inspire others to do the same. When you stop agreeing with everyone, you make space for your own voice, your own values, and your own truth to be heard. To act with strength, you have to start by understanding that not everyone is going to like you or agree with you, and that's perfectly fine. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to live your life on your terms. You have your own unique perspective, your own set of values, and your own goals. People will come and go in your life, but you will always be with yourself. So why not start prioritizing your own needs, your own growth, and your own success over the comfort of others? Being overly agreeable is a form of self-sabotage. It's a way of hiding your true self and avoiding confrontation or discomfort. But you're not going to make progress if you keep hiding who you really are. You have to start expressing your opinions, standing up for what you believe in, and making choices that align with your vision for the future. If you don't start acting with strength, you'll never reach your full potential. You'll always be stuck in a cycle of pleasing others, and you'll never fully step into your own power. Start small. Look at the everyday situations where you find yourself saying yes to things you don't really want to do. Maybe it's agreeing to go to events that don't interest you. Maybe it's saying yes to favors that drain your energy. Maybe it's letting others walk all over you because you're afraid of their judgment. Take note of these moments and start saying no when it's necessary. You don't need to apologize for it, and you don't need to explain yourself. You're simply protecting your time and energy for what matters most to you. When you start to act with strength, you'll notice how your confidence grows. You'll realize that your ability to make decisions for yourself is the key to unlocking the life you want. You'll feel more in control, more empowered, and more fulfilled. The more you practice saying no, the easier it will become. You'll learn to trust your instincts, and you'll find that you no longer feel guilty for putting yourself first. Don't wait for permission to live the life you want. Stop looking for approval from others. It's your life, and you are the only one who can make it count. People who succeed in life, who build empires, who live their dreams, are not the ones who are overly agreeable. They are the ones who take a stand, who make decisions, and who move forward with strength and confidence. They know what they want, and they're not afraid to go after it, even if others don't understand or agree. They understand that saying yes to everything is saying no to their own growth. They know that in order to get ahead, they have to take ownership of their life. If you want to act with strength, you need to embrace discomfort. You need to be okay with saying no, even when it feels hard. The more you practice this, the more natural it will become. You'll stop being afraid of confrontation, and you'll stop worrying about what others think of you. You'll realize that your needs and your goals are just as important as anyone else's. And you'll know that saying yes to others at the cost of your own happiness and success is no longer an option. The world is full of people who will try to take advantage of your kindness, your time, and your energy. They'll push you to agree with them, to do what they want, and to follow their agenda. But you don't have to give in. You have the power to say no. You have the power to stand up for yourself. You have the power to choose a path that aligns with your values, your goals, and your vision for your future. When you act with strength and stop being overly agreeable, you'll discover a new level of confidence and self-respect. You'll be in control of your life, and you'll stop letting others dictate your happiness and success. You'll start prioritizing your goals, your dreams, and your well-being, and you'll take consistent action toward achieving them. You'll become a force to be reckoned with, and people will respect you for it. You'll stop being afraid of conflict or rejection, and you'll embrace the discomfort that comes with standing firm in your decisions.